Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Flag bearers of NDC and NPP take their campaign tours to the Ashanti and Oti regions as the clock ticks down to election 2024. This afternoon, we'll be probing further into NPP's flag bearer Dr. Bawumia's promises to create more jobs for the Ghanaian youth.
8 years, with all the challenges, we were able to do 2.6 million jobs. It shows that we will do much more than 2.6 million in the next 8 years.
Also coming up on the program, Ghana Health Service reiterated call on the public to practice good hygiene following the rapid spread of cholera infections in parts of the country. And much later, former President Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris make their final sprint across key states on last day of election campaign today. We're live in the U.S. for some updates. Very much for joining us today. Now, flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says that the next NPP administration will seek to create some 4 million jobs to meet the growing demand. In a formal engagement with youth voters, the NPP flag bearer reiterated his pledge to create an enabling environment for private sector-led growth.
Detailing interventions captured in the NPP's 2024 manifesto, Dr. Bawumia touted achievements made by the current government, including the creation of 2.6 million jobs. He stated that despite this success, a lot more jobs will be created if given the nod.
If in 8 years, with all the challenges, we were able to do 2.6 million jobs, it shows by just plain logic and reason that we will do much more than 2.6 million in the next 8 years. I expect us to go to at least if we proceed on this trajectory for the next 8 years, we should, with all of these different aspects come in, I am looking at us moving to create 4 million jobs in the next 8 years.
When asked about his digitization drive, which has been questioned by the opposition, Dr. Bawumia said that John Mahama must steer clear of the presidency.
Today he says there is no link between digitalization and the economy. Right? How can that be? In this fourth industrial revolution, how can we have a leader who doesn't appreciate the value of digitalization in a digital global economy? He should not be allowed close to the presidency with that mindset. He should not be allowed close to the presidency with that mindset. A leader who doesn't understand digitalization in today's world wants to be president of a country like ours?
Regarding recent power challenges, he emphasized the need for a quick resolution to the issues.
The power challenges that we've had recently, from my understanding, there's been issues with gas supplies, and that has resulted. But I'm told that this situation is about to be resolved, and the problem is being fixed. So we will get more reliable power.
And you had there the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, also the Vice President of the country, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and in that report by Mawina Egbeta. Let's stay more on this. Kofi Tonto is a political aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He joins us live on the line. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon. The name is Kofi Tonto.
Kofi Tonto, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Obviously, job creation is a major issue for Ghanaians, especially the youth, and it could be understood why the Vice President is promising to create 4 million more jobs. How is such an engagement by the presidential candidate to address the problem?
Say the last bit again. I didn't hear.
I'm asking how such an engagement will address the problem.
How the engagement will address the problem?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is not the engagement that's going to address the problem. Rather, the solutions. What he was trying to do was he wanted to engage the youth specifically to outline his ideas on job creation for them. If you listened to him, he was referencing that per our research, there are three things that are critical for the youth: education, access to quality education, access to quality skills and training, and then jobs. And so he basically did a quick summary on what we have done on education, providing data on the number of young people who have benefited from free SHS, about 5.7 million young people as of the 2023 academic year, and possibly can grow to 6.5 million by the end of the 2024 academic year. And then was quick to say that once the young people have the education, that education must be translated into skills, employable skills. So being is that they become lawyers, professors, engineers, whatever, they have to have professional skills. And then also to have TVET or technical skills. And then he spoke about other skills like digital skills, etc. Once you've been able to provide education, translate that education into employable skills, the next most important thing is to give the young people jobs. So those are the three things he mentioned: education, employable skills, and then jobs.
And who is going to create that job? I mean, those jobs you talk about.
My sister, I'm coming there. So then the next thing is provide jobs. And he continued to outline initiatives that will help provide the requisite jobs that we are looking for. So one, he talks about Buy Ghana. You know, the rhetoric of buying Ghana is not anything new. It's not Dr. Baumia who is introducing that concept. The difference here is that we want to back it by law, by amending the Procurement Act to say that government institutions, etc., must first buy Ghana first. If a government institution has to do a procurement, this time is not a case of encouraging them to buy Ghana first, but this time it is a case of by law mandating them to buy Ghana first unless they have evidence to suggest that they can buy abroad. If you are buying Ghana first, essentially those items, those goods and services have to be provided or created or manufactured in Ghana. And that is how you create millions of jobs for young people. Number two, he talks about a credit scoring system. A credit scoring system is what underpins a credit system in any modern or advanced society. What a credit system does is it stimulates demand because it gives additional resources to people who hitherto wouldn't have had it. Let me give you a very quick example. You, as a media journalist, let's say your salary for the month is 3,000 cedis, just hypothetically. But with a credit system, you can now access, let's say, 10,000 cedis additional to your income. That additional income, you can use it to buy goods and services that you need, that you couldn't have purchased before because your income couldn't have purchased all the goods.
But you will eventually pay them with the same amount of salary you're receiving at the end of the month.
Of course, the idea of a credit system is that's what I'm trying to help you. The idea of a credit system is
I know the credit system in Europe and in US, and a lot of people are burdened by their debts because they still have the same amount of money.
No, the whole idea, you are asking me about creating jobs, and I'm saying that those who are burdened by their debts are those who perhaps overspend and overuse it. Of course, there are instances where people overuse it. But the idea behind the credit system is it gives people the opportunity to access resources that they couldn't have access. So you can buy a house and pay incrementally. You can buy a car and pay incrementally. Once you do it within your means, you are able to survive. And once these goods and services, you're able to buy these additional goods and services. Those additional goods and services are manufactured, are created, are provided. And that's also another way of creating jobs.
And sir, at the end of the day, let me just come in here. You know that over 70% of our economy is dependent on the informal sector. And you need to have at least some stable finances before you're able to access funds. So those in that larger group of people in the country, how do they access this? Or how does the credit scoring work?
The credit scoring works. One, you see, what you have to understand is that for any policy to work, you start it, and then as it reaches optimal level, it creates added value. So if in Ghana, the labor market, if my memory serves me right, it's about 11 million. That's 11 million people who are working. If you have a credit system, and even half of that population can now procure goods and services double or 3 times their salary and pay incrementally over years, those goods and services will be created. When they are created and manufactured, those are jobs. Once those jobs are created, you are now able to employ more people and bring more people into the labor force. That is how society and economies are done. There's no policy that can target every single Ghanaian at a go. The point of the policy is you start it. Once it begins to mature and grows and reaches optimal, then the attendant benefit is the job creation. And then you bring more people into the labor force.
So for the sake of time, let me just ask you my last question. You talked about buying Ghana, and you said that you're going to back it by law. There are so many laws in the country that are not implemented. An example is the real estate area, where you have a lot of land or land lords or land ladies charging in dollars, and we know that we are not supposed to be charging in dollars. How far have we come with implementing such things?
My sister, the fact that there are aspects of our society that are not efficient does not mean we cannot do other things that can push it forward. I mean, even if you go to the almighty United States, you can find aspects of the society that are not the most efficient. We get it that there are aspects of our society that are not efficient. We are working at it. You know, if you have a credit system and the credit system is working, and the landlord has a trustworthy process of establishing that Kofi Tonto is somebody who will pay, that problem will be solved automatically.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Kofi Tonto. He is a political aide to Dr. Manu Bawumia, giving us some more as regards to the policies of the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Manu Bawumia, and we remain with his campaign because this afternoon he says that he will also roll out new policies to regulate mining in the country. The new policy, according to the flag bearer, will include the involvement of chiefs in the mining concessions. Just take a listen.
Geological Survey Authority maps actually go to the war so that you won't do trial and error to start with. They are share community mining schemes. They are licensing miners so that we are you are not allowed to do this. You will be licensed according to the law, and you will work according to the law, as long as you don't mine irresponsibly.
You'll be licensed according to the law and mine according to the law. Flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Manu Bawumia, and we're returning to him, speak to Daniel Opoku, who is a man with him for the latest on his tour. And moving to the flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Mahama, he's arrived in the OT region to kickstart his regional campaign tour there. John Mahama, after making a one-day break of his campaign to take part in the peace campaign on Sunday, under the auspices of the Ghana Pentecostal Council, the Christian Council, and the Office of the National Chief Imam, is now in the UT region. Like I just told you this morning, John Mahama is in the Kwame Krom in the Biakoya constituency. Now, Mahama's vision centers on reducing unemployment through sustainable economic policies, including the 24-hour economy, rolling out a $10 billion big Push Infrastructure Program and the 1 million Coders Program. He also believes that jobs not only provide income but also dignity and purpose. Komla Klucha is a man following him. He'll be joining us very shortly. Now to health, and the Ghana Health Service has reiterated a call on the public to practice good hygiene following the rapid spread of cholera infections in parts of the country. Health officials say that good sanitary conditions within communities will help contain the spread of the disease. The Awutu Senya East Municipality or Municipal Health Directorate in the Central Region is the latest to confirm 30 cases with 5 deaths recorded in the last few days, with fears the situation could worsen. Meanwhile, the Ada Eastern West District remain the disease hotspot, and the Ghana Health Service is intensifying awareness and education on helping people keep the environment from infections. But what is the situation like in the areas in close proximity to the communities that are recording cases? Thomas Khan is our man on this beat for us. He joins us live from the Central Region. Thomas, just really tell us more about the cholera situation where you are.
So we do know that the municipal chief executive for the Awutu Senya East, she has been all around the community ensuring that something is done rapidly. We do know that there has been some kind of communication between the assembly and the environmental office, which is also having officers from the Ghana Health Services, because already we do know that about 5 people have died and 30 more people have been hospitalized due to the outbreak, and they are afraid that this disease could spread further to other districts. We do know that from the Health Directorate, Regional Health Directorate, they've also dispatched some team members to ensure that the disease is slowed in terms of spreading. So as we speak now, there's been some more engagement on local radio to tell people what to do to stop the spread of the disease.
How are the people who have been educated reacting to these messages?
Yes, we do know that now people are alarmed by the death that is being announced, especially those who are also in the hospitals. You know, people were only practicing the hand washing and also mindful about handshaking and all of that. Now people are beginning to be minded about how to carry themselves, and then also even how to get food from outside.
Thank you very much, Thomas Khan, reporting live from the Central Region to the Eastern Region now. Yvonne Nekwe is on for us. Yvonne, what have you been able to pick on the ground regarding the outbreak of cholera where you are?
Well, this is information I'm picking up for areas in the Eastern Region is that there are cases yet to be confirmed to be cholera. We're hoping that by the close of the day, the health officials will confirm that to us. But we do know that surveillance is high in the region, especially where it is positioned. We do know that between Greater Accra and the Central Region, the Eastern Region, part of it is close to a number of districts as well. Again, we do know that women and others do trade, and so this cross trading and then traveling will possibly get people getting the cholera disease. This is what has been happening in the Eastern Region.
Thank you very much. And that was Yvonne Nekwe. She's our reporter in the Eastern Region. This afternoon, the Executive Director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, Mercy Thompson, is calling for the release of the full investigative report on the devastating 2015 fire that gutted Ghana's central medical stores. Speaking at a press conference, Mr. Thompson alleged that the Economic and Organized Crime Office has withheld findings from the investigation. The fire, initially classified as arson, destroyed medical supplies valued at over $80 million, leading to significant losses for the health sector.
Mami Yatiwa Dadakwa is sitting on the report, doesn't want to release the report. And the question is, what is her interest? IOCO is an agency that is charged with responsibility of investigating persons involved in criminal activities or some form of corruption or anti-corruption behaviors. And so when you complete the report, you are an investigative agency. Do your investigations, file your report, release your report, and your job is done. The rest is for the Attorney General or the Special Prosecutor to take these matters up. And the persons which the investigations have indicted or the report indicts commence criminal prosecution against these persons. So why is Yoko protecting these persons? Why is Yoko sitting on the report? So we must ask. Mami Yatiwa Adu Dankwa. And so from here, I expect that the media will march straight to Yoko and go and ask Mami Yatiwa Adu Dankwa, while she's failing to release the 2015 Medical Stores Fire Investigations report, why 9 years down the line, we still don't have closure to this matter.
I heard that. Mr. Thompson, he's the executive director for ASAPA. Noble Crosby Annan was at that press conference. He joins us live on the line. Noble, just tell us more about what happened.
Right, so you know that somewhere in 2015, this unfortunate incident happened, January 13, 2015, where Central Medical Stores was consumed by fire, resulting in the destruction of medical supplies and equipment worth over $80 million. Upon investigations, it was revealed that it was an arson, and it was to cover ongoing investigations by Yoko, if you like. Now, the then Attorney General, I'm talking about Marietta Burapong, intervened and asked for thorough investigation. So the Auditor General was investigating in consultation. Mrs. Burapong said the governor therefore directed the Minister of Health in consultation with the Auditor General to constitute a special task force to conduct the audit using the framework of the audit service to investigate. However, 9 years down the line, the results of the investigations, according to Minister Thompson of ASAPA, are yet to be made public. So he says that investigations have been concluded, and he's wondering why the results of the findings have not been made public for persons to be prosecuted. He knows that some 12 persons were interdicted following the accident, but he's saying that no prosecution has happened since that. So he's going to file an RTI request to the office, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, as well as the Office of the Special Prosecutor, so that thorough investigations, as well as demanding the findings of the already conducted investigations into the accident, be made public. Beatrice.
Beyond he filing that RTI request, I heard him say that he believes the media will be marching to the Yoko office to demand answers as well. Have you seen any of our colleagues doing that?
Well, we're trying to reach the Economic and Organized Crime Office for a response to the claims made by Thomas Minister Thompson on the findings of Yoko after the investigations. The claims have been concluded. We're yet to get a response.
Thank you so much. And that was Noble Crosby Annan reporting live from that press conference organized by the Executive Director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability. To the north now, and on elections, and Member of Parliament for Afajatu South, Angela Aloute, has urged Ghanaians, especially the people of the north, to prioritize peace as the country inches closer to the December 7 elections. Christopher Mwako is following this for us. He joins us live on the line. Chris, the political space is obviously heating up, but how will you describe the peaceful atmosphere so far in your region?
Yes, so far, I must say that the political parties, including all the electorates, are cooperating with the issues of maintaining the peace that the region has enjoyed so far, even though we have some tensions, pockets of tensions in some polling stations, in constituencies in the northern region, but that is insignificant as it stands now because they have so far been resolved. And so the atmosphere is peaceful, and everybody is beginning to understand the need for peace, even as calls have been intensified for the people of the north to embrace peace, because if you look at the MPP, NDC, they all have their candidates coming from the northern parts of the country. And so it's been peaceful so far, and we're hoping that the atmosphere is peaceful till the election day.
The speaker says, become, take your card, is a voter registration card, walk to the polling station, cast your vote, go home peacefully. During counting, you come and observe. no trouble. No trouble. He's asking the military, the police, whatever, to do their job without any bloodshed. That is key to us. The 8 lives we lost the last time, we are not happy about them. And so this time, we want peace. If your commander says fire, know that the person you are going to fire is a Ghanaian. He has the same blood in him or her as you, the person firing. And so the speaker says that peace, peace, peace. We are one people.
And you had the Member of Parliament for Afajato South, Angela Alowote, and earlier you heard our Northern Region correspondent Christopher Amwako. Now, former President Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris are making their final sprints across key states on last day of election campaign today. Now, the elections are built for tomorrow, and that means happening in the next 24 hours. And both candidates are in a final sprint across key battleground states, 7 of them, to sell their messages. Harris is billed to campaign in Pennsylvania today, the state with one of the largest electoral votes. It has 19. Trump is heading to North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. And we'll go live to the U.S. for an update very shortly. Actually, we can go live to the U.S. now. Sani Abdul Rahman is there. He joins us live video call. Sani, I know this election has been described by many as a razor blade sort of between the candidates, but really tell us what's happening now.
Well, Beatrice, as you indicated, the campaigns have entered the final lap, with today being the last day of appealing to voters. A lot of activities on the itinerary of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. As you indicated, Donald Trump, we are told, is holding 4 major rallies in pivotal swing states. Kamala Harris will also be holding similar rallies in the key swing states in their final plea to voters. As to whether this will make any impact at this last hour, that's another subject for discussion. The 2 contenders will end their day in the key swing state of Pennsylvania, of course, being a big one. We know in 2020, Joe Biden won the state by a little over 1% and was able to get to the White House. In 2016, Donald Trump also won by less than 1%, but he was able to also get to the White House. So quite an important state for all these actors, and that's why they'll be rounding up their campaign activities today in that state. So quite an anxious kind of atmosphere here. The anxiety quite high. A lot of the electorate who've engaged are telling us their priorities and what they will want to be seen happening in the next 4 years for whoever comes into office. A lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of anxiety among voters here in the U.S., but they are keeping their heads straight as tomorrow nears.
They are keeping their heads straight. And obviously, both Kamala and Donald Trump seem to have different messages. And we do know that as of now, over 75 million people have already cast their ballot in early voting. But for the remaining ones that are going to participate in tomorrow, what issues are standing out for them?
Well, if we put together the 2 baskets, that's basket of messages I'm referring to, that these 2 contenders have been selling in the last 1 year, and of course for Kamala Harris in the last few months, because she came in when Joe Biden was asked to allow a different person to lead the Democratic Party. Top on the agenda, or top on the issue for the American voters, is the economy. They are seeing prices of groceries, prices of gas being on the higher side. And of course, this has a global perspective coming all the way from the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russian war, Ukraine, and of course, the many issues that the American economy is facing internally. So this has contributed to the middle class and those in the lower class brackets having to suffer in terms of their purchasing power, in terms of being able to buy the basic things that they need to run their lives. Healthcare is also important. Of course, this is on the side of the Democrats because they are selling the message of the women reproductive health. The issue of abortion has become dominant in the conversation. Immigration is very important because in the last couple of years. We've seen the southern border, the infiltration, and of course, the issues that have resulted in terms of security and somehow crime, which have also dominated conversation. So 3 key issues: economy, healthcare, immigration, are dominating the campaigns, and both candidates are trying to sell their solutions as to what they can do when they are voted into office to address these concerns.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Abdul Rahman, Sani Abdul Rahman. He's our correspondent in the US. And that's it for the news here on True FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to shrenews.com. Have a good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Bank of Ghana stress test shows banking sector resilience against interest rates and exchange rate fluctuations, but warns on liquidity risks. We'll bring you details of that. Also, Volta River Authority staff demand withdrawal of energy merger bill to end strike. We'll hear from National Chairman of the Association, Theophilus Tete Ahia. Okay. And mining experts calls for boosting local content to reduce Ghana's mining sector reliance on imports. We'll hear from Chief Executive of Nuvugu Mining, Angela List.
Most of the implements we use for mining are imported, so I'd like to see a lot more in manufacturing, the consumables that we use in mining.
My name is Manu. Afful will bring you details of these stories and more shortly. Don't go anywhere. Well, let's get into the details. The Bank of Ghana's recent stress test results indicates that the banking sector industry remains resilient against interest rates and exchange rate fluctuations. However, liquidity risks could pose challenges if government and of Ghana bonds become hard to sell, raising concerns over the sector's capacity to withstand sustained high withdrawal rates. The following news desk report has the details.
The Bank of Ghana has assessed the health of the country's banks, finding that they are mostly strong in managing interest rate changes and exchange rate fluctuations. However, the central bank warns that banks could face challenges if government bonds become harder to sell. The bank's stress tests show that, in normal conditions, most banks could handle a moderate level of customer withdrawals for up to a month. But if government bonds can't be quickly converted to cash, banks may struggle to meet high demand for withdrawals over an extended period. On interest rates, the bank's analysis suggests that even a sharp rise would not significantly hurt the banks, though it could lower their overall strength. Meanwhile, fluctuations in the exchange rate are not expected to heavily impact banks due to existing regulations. Overall, the Bank of Ghana emphasizes that while the sector is resilient, careful management of liquidity remains essential for stability.
That was a 3 Business News Desk report on Bank of Ghana's stress test showing banking sector resilience, but warns of liquidity risks. Moving on, despite government's success in meeting its targets in the latest Treasury auction, interest rates remain on an upward trajectory, hovering around 27.5%. Now, this was revealed in the latest auction by the Bank of Ghana. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. According to the auction results by the Bank of Ghana, government recorded a marginal oversubscription, realizing about 4.078 billion cedis against a target of 4.01 billion cedis. All bids tendered were oversubscribed, with a chunk from the 91-day bill, from which government realized 3.32 billion cedis. For the 182-day bill, government realized about 549.96 million cedis and 200.78 million cedis for the 1-year bill. Interest rates, however, continued on an upward trajectory, with yields on the 91-day bill going up to 26.56%, representing a 37 basis points increase. For the 182-day bill, it increased from 27.29% to 27.58%. For the 1-year bill also, interest rates went up by 6 basis points to 28.97%. The oversubscription recorded meant that government was able to realize enough to meet its weekly refinancing obligations. That was also a 3 Business News Desk report on interest rates on Treasury bills remaining on an upward trajectory, hovering around 27.5%. Away from that, the Volta River Authority VRA Staff Association says it will fully call off its strike only if the proposed energy sector bills are completely withdrawn from Parliament. The association partially suspended its action after receiving a letter from the Ministry of Energy requesting Parliament to pause consideration of the legislation. The bills seek to merge the Volta River Authority, Bui Power Authority, Northern Electricity Distribution Company, that's NEDCO, and the Electricity Company of Ghana, ACG. The National Chairman of VRA Staff Association, Theophilus Tete Ahia, spoke to 3 Business.
We saw a letter being sent to Parliament, specifically the Clerk of Parliament, calling for the suspension of discussion on those bills. He has done well because he's done something that is not entirely what we are asking for. And since we are also good people and professionals, and we believe and we always stand by our word, we have also decided that we are also going to also suspend some of our actions until the bill is totally withdrawn from Parliament. So that is what we have done, and we know that he's a fine gentleman, and he will do what is right, what is needful to withdraw the bills from Parliament so that we can also finally bring down the curtain on our action to bring some peace in the workplace so that we can have a meaningful engagement on the way forward in the energy sector.
He further argued that the proposed measure poses a risk to the nation's energy security and should be firmly opposed.
So what we are saying basically is that this bill is not going to serve the good people of this country. The people are not going to benefit from it, but we see it as a ploy to sell some of the state assets, which we think that will compromise the national security, energy security, economic security of this country. Thank you. So I don't know.
National Chairman of the VRA Staff Association, Theophilus Tete Ahia there. In more stories, leading voice in Ghana's mining industry and chief executive of Nguvu Mining, Angela List, is urging stakeholders to strengthen local content policies as the sector remains heavily reliant on imported equipment. According to her, increasing local production of mining implements could cut costs, support Ghanaian businesses, and generate more jobs, aligning with national goals to deepen local participation in mining. She made this known in a yet-to-be-aired interview on TV3's Business Focus with Pakwasi Asari.
I mean, it's work in progress. It's really about encouraging more local content in the manufacturing space. Unfortunately, most of the implements we use for mining are imported. So I'd like to see a lot more in manufacturing, the consumables that we use in mining. So it's more in the electric space. So, with improved technology, we've seen more electric operated equipment. Recently, Liebherr and Fortescue Minerals, have come up with an excavator, quite a huge one that's completely electric driven. So those would help with emissions and the like. That's really the space.
A leading voice in Ghana's mining industry and chief executive of Nguvu Mining, Angela Lister, urging stakeholders to strengthen local content policies as the sector remains heavily reliant on imported equipment. Be reminded that a full interview airs tomorrow at 5 p.m. on TV3's Business Focus with your regular host, Kwesi Asari. Well, that's it for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, please log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.